Real football might be over, but the offseason, much like the city of New York, never sleeps. We got coaching changes, free agency, the combine, the draft, and tons more action to cover to get ready for the next NFL season. Who's going to be the next rising star? What new coach is going to have the greatest impact? What free agent is going to take your team from pretender to contender? Let us be the voice of the NFL news. As Coach Mike Dub, the real AG Alex Givens, young RG Robert Garcia, and yours truly, Coach Defense, break down everything from the NFL offseason right here on the NFL Offseason Blitz. Let's go.
I've been to myself, just me lately. I don't need a lot. I've been to myself, just me lately. I don't need a lot. No. Just me and the fam, few friends ain't playing. I don't speak a lot, and I can't stop. And I can't stop. And I can't stop. And I can't stop. I'm that cash money getter, big show stopper. 4 kids having no chain rocker. Make my business, work my business, count them digits, earn them winnings. I see you in my rear view and you been trying. Said you out here doing numbers, but you been lying. And you know my little baby been fine. In the crib, bet she do it for the 9-9. I've been to myself, just me lately. I don't need a lot. No. Just me and the fam, few friends ain't playing. I don't speak a lot. And I can't stop. And I can't stop. And I can't stop. And I can't stop. I don't gotta say too much. My bros know the deal, they think I play too much. Never miss a miss, yeah, I've been scraping up. Life been moving faster, you should pray for us. Just got a text, so I hit. I don't need designer fits, but I like how designer fit. LV with the Prada mix, this is not a mannequin. You see what I'm standing in, don't care who I'm standing with. Cause I'ma be me all day. I'ma be me all day. And you can't get in my way. You can't get in my way. I'ma be me all day. I'ma be me all day. And you can't get in my way. Yeah. I've been to myself, just me lately. I don't need a lot. No. Just me and the fam, few friends ain't playing. I don't speak a lot. And I can't stop. And I can't stop. And I can't stop. And I can't stop.
Sports Network. You are tuning into the Lockdown Defense Sports Network.
Some people claim that they are all good, but none of them are real. The co-hosts of the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast, the Trenches Guru, Mr. I'm in 10 fantasy leagues and I'm still winning. President of the You Can Hate Me Cause You Ain't Me Chiefs Fan Club. Give it up for the real AG, Alex Givens.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Over Under, King Parlay, the young Padawan himself and card-carrying member of the Boat Gang or Don't Bang Fan Club, young RG, Robert Garcia is in the building. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with the drops. It just paused at this point. Good luck, good job, stream, y'all. We appreciate you.
No pause for me. What is happening?
It's just spinning. We'll get it done though. But yes, young RG's in the building as well. Welcome. We'll get your applause at some point, RG. We'll figure it out. There it is. It was just hanging. I don't know what is going on. It is what it is. It wanted to be great. Yeah, there you go. But we're gonna get it right. We'll get a glove. It's not a normal day, so they're not used to us. We understand. We understand.
What is this?
Yes, welcome to the NFL Offseason Blitz for the Lockdown Defense Sports Network. I'm your host, Coach Defense, alongside young RG Robert Garcia, the real AG Alex Givens. We are here The squad is here, ready to rock and roll and talk about your preseason. Gentlemen, what is happening? Young RG, what's good in the hood?
Oh, man, we got football tomorrow, man. We get to watch a Chargers game tomorrow. Preseason football is here. We obviously already had the Hall of Fame game, and what a Hall of Fame game it was. If it's any inclination of what the season's going to look like, I really hope that game is the first story, because that game, I know it was preseason, but it really did feel like a playoff game, man. There was some intensity, the last touchdown, the celebration. Yes. I mean, if that didn't get you excited for football and ready for the season, I don't know what will.
Indeed. Yes, I feel you there. If that's any indication what the preseason or the regular season is going to look like, we're in store for a really good one. I tell you that. For sure. The real AG, Alex Givens, good brother. How you doing? What's going on over there?
Man, I'm doing good, Coach. Excited to be talking about some somewhat meaningful stuff now. Meaningful games, meaningful battles. No more off-season speculation. We're in the stuff, so to speak.
Yes, we're in the hunt.
And to touch base on that Hall of Fame game, one was a sick game, and I saw that after it had average 7 million viewers, more than any MLB game this season. So football is king. The king is back, baby.
Indeed.
I saw someone quote tweet that stat about the viewership, and it was we're a bunch of sickos, man.
Savages, dude. How many people
we're just obsessed
on that too?
We're just obsessed. It's all good. I mean, it is what it is.
We got a 6-leg parlay with Bakari Mataba scoring a touchdown. Who?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Some of these guys are way past their prime. Some of these guys never had a prime.
Listen, I'm a degenerate gambler, but even I didn't bet on the game.
Right. You have your standards, right? You got your preseason.
I got standards.
Right. Yes, indeed. Some people are just sick. You're right. Cause they just gamble on anything. They gamble on their kids' grades, basketball games for Pee-wee leagues. They don't care. They don't care bet on anything. Bet their grandma rolling down the hill fast in the walker. Right? They don't bet on anything. It's wild, man. It is what it is. We'll get you some help. 1-800-GAMBLER if you need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Indeed. So yeah, man, preseason is here, man. Like I said, the games, full slate of games this week. Every team that you are a fan of is playing this week in some fashion. And I like how they spread the games out. They got games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I believe. So yeah, it's gonna be a full slate of games. They got maximum national coverage. The networks are gonna be booming with games all throughout the days of the week coming through Thursday through Sunday. So it should be a good one. But we're going to talk some news here. We're going to talk some preseason. We're going to talk some projections, some player watches. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. So we're going to get right into it. So let's jump off the show by talking. Let's talk some money. Let's talk some money. So apparently Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and Zay Flowers broke the bank over the past week and a half-ish. In regards to their extensions, they were all due or slightly early in the idea of getting paid. So they are now quite rich. I think I saw Nicole Lynn is an agent for one of the players that said, anybody have a Brinks truck I can borrow? I said, well, damn. Okay. Yeah, well, she wasn't lying. She was not lying. So everybody,
10%.
Right. Everybody, even including Jonathan Taylor, who was not on the list. I almost left him off, but Jonathan Taylor is on this list as well. In regards to him getting paid. It's funny, too. That's enough story because they saw Bijan get paid, and Jahmyr and Jonathan both got on their respective phones and said, to my agent, show me the money. Yep. Shouts out to Rod Tidwell. So we're going to discuss exactly what's happening with these deals, what's going on with them. We're going to talk about that particular aspect of it. Why was it on a solo tip? Hold on. There we go. That's a little rough on that one. Okay. There's another solo. What is going on here? See what I'm saying? I want us to be great out here. That's the one I want. There we go. So yes, so let's talk big money, gentlemen. Let's talk about these particular deals. Bijan went first. I think Jonathan went second. Jahmyr went third, and then Zay, flowed in with a $100 million guaranteed deal from the Ravens. So let's start with Bijan. Do you think the deal was right on time? Do you think the money was good? Do you think they did right by him? What are your thoughts on the Bijan deal, Alex?
Yeah, I think, one, it was right on time because they were the first ones to kind of start the domino effect.
Yep.
Undoubtedly have to pay the guy. I mean, where they drafted him, what he's been for their team up to this point. And, I mean, just the fact of, how bad last season was, he still led the NFL in scrimmage yards. So you can't really let that just walk out the door. They secured it. We're right to do it early, and saved a little money when you look at the numbers of some other guys. It's not much,
sure.
but I think in the contract game, just a little bit is a big win. So,
indeed. I like it. All right, RG, what you think about this deal? Do you think it was right on time? Do you think it's right on the mark? Do you think he was worth it? What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, echoing everything that Alex said, really. They were the only team that got it right and being on time because they were the first to do it. And in an offseason where you have multiple running backs, multiple high-profile running backs looking to get paid, a couple of running backs already did get paid in the offseason and free agency. You already know that, these guys are going to come for money. So you got to get out ahead of it. And to the Falcons' credit, they were the first ones to get out ahead of it. They're going to get the cheapest contract out of all these running backs that are going to get signed. And obviously in the next season and in the near future as well, that contract in 2 years is going to look like an absolute bargain for a guy that is basically your entire offense in the rushing game, of course, and even in the receiving game. Now they do have Drake London, Kyle Pitts. We already know, how polarizing of a player he is. But for all intents and purposes, Bijan is the offense for the Falcons. And if they're going to be successful in any facet of this league, it's going to be through him. So absolutely, they got it right. They were, again, the only team to get it right because only one team does, and it's the first team. So congrats to them.
I like it. Because as a matter of fact, being they have Tua on the cheap deal and Michael Penix on the rookie deal, didn't they lock in Pitts and London as well?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm not mistaken. Okay. All right, Atlanta.
Pretty much signifying that Penix has to work out, or they got to go with some other rookie because they can't be able to pay anyone else. Dude.
Yeah, they're not paying no wily veteran. That's for sure. That is for sure. All right, cool. So let's move on to Jonathan Taylor next. What do you think about Jonathan Taylor's deal? It was a slight uptick from what Bijan got. He is slightly older than Bijan. Obviously, Bijan and Jameer are on the younger side of this conversation. So what do you think Bijan deal versus Jonathan Taylor deal was? Do you think Jonathan Taylor was right to get paid when he did?
No.
Yeah, no, I think that the Colts and Jonathan Taylor, obviously in his right to get his agent on the horn to nudge the team to do something because he has quietly been top 3 back in the NFL pretty much since he's burst onto the scene. And it sucks that he's in Indy. Otherwise, he'd probably be looked at a little differently. But I think that it was, good for him and good for the team to extend him, secure him pretty much because, they've tethered on with Daniel Jones. They don't have much of future capital for the next couple of years to really reset or build. So, the only other way is through with some big contracts and just keeping the core together as long as they can and just see what they can get out of it. So I think right by all sides and kind of crazy, honestly, just given JT's age, that he would kind of get another bag added on to the one he got. But maybe it's a sign of the times of kind of the value of running backs getting looked at a little differently now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, RG, what you think about Jonathan Taylor? You think his deal was right on the money?
Yeah, just once again, echoing everything that Alex said. Again, for another guy, you want to talk about Bijan being basically that whole offense. Jonathan Taylor is the offense in Indy, and we said that all last season. You stop Jonathan Taylor, that team can really go nowhere, even with Daniel Jones and that magical start to the year they had. We all know that this train and the engine of this train runs through one Jonathan Taylor, and if he's not there, if he's best, then ultimately this team really isn't going to go anywhere. On top of the fact that you're already in a really tough division, 2 other teams in your division made the playoffs last year, of course. Winning division and the Texans not sneaking in, but the Texans getting in a card. The Colts need him by all accounts, and Jonathan Taylor, and to Alex's point, is well within his right to say, "Hey, I've been everything and more that this offense has needed me to be." And I feel like I deserve to be paid among some of these top backs. And, to the Colts' credit, they looked at that and said, you know what? Yeah, you're right. A lot of times teams will be like, no, we just gave you a deal a couple years ago, piss off. And, then you get into the holdouts and then it turns really ugly. But the Colts recognizing it, saying, no, you have been literally the offense for us. You deserve to be paid accordingly. And again, Jonathan Taylor, this season he is going to be getting a heavy, heavy workload. you want him to be happy while he's getting, taking that punishment, taking those hits carry after carry. So
100K hit.
Yeah, I mean,
100K hit is hilarious.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you take those hits a lot easier when you're making more money than you do when you're not a top paid at your position. So yeah, Colts again, although they didn't get the timing right, I give them a pass because they didn't necessarily need to give them a new deal. But the fact that they saw Atlanta go out and give Bijan, they said, you know what, let's get ahead of this before it really starts to blow up, aka Jahmyr Gibbs. But again, Colts credit, they got the deal done, and he's going to be taken care of. He probably will retire a Colt. I think that might be safe to say.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet to say. Yeah,
I think when a franchise rewards you like this,
he's 27 right now. So
a lot of years left. But I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, as a player, if the franchise is paying me what I'm worth and not really giving me rebuttal about it later on in my career, I can kind of maybe take a little bit of a pay cut and not feel as bad about it because they took care of me early on. So I think it's just a win for all sides.
It's a perfect world.
I like it. And not to quote unquote shame the dead, God rest the dead, but it seems that these deals gone much smoother since the late departed Jim Irsay's passed away. They doing business differently in Indy now. Daniel Jones wasn't a haggle over his deal, when they haggle over Jonathan Taylor's money. They paid Alec Pierce an astronomical, ridiculous amount of money, which I still don't agree with.
Maybe they went a little bit too ahead of themselves on that one.
Yeah, they might have went. Yeah, it might have a little smart
out this whole time too. But
I know, and another thing, right? So yeah.
It's almost like old Papa Irsay passed, and they're like, "Wait, he had how much money?"
Right. Right. Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I definitely agree. And it's funny too because I'm always going to be on the side. We'll get to Jahmyr Gibbs and say Flowers in a second, but I'll say it right now. I'm always going to be on the side of players getting their money. The salary cap has gone up astronomically in the last 5 years. We're talking $20 to $30 million per year. And again, we're going to be in the $350, $400 million salary cap, very shortly. And I just saw a study today that said the evaluation and the growth and the worth of teams has shot up at 30% over the past calendar year. Wow. So you looking at teams like the Cowboys and the Rams are up to upwards of $12 billion in worth now. So if you're making $12 billion, and if anybody that has a job, if your company's making hand over fist money and you're the focal point, you are going to want to get paid top dollar, and that applies to NFL players as well. And honestly, NFL profession is way more rigorous than you sitting at your desk typing on the computer every day. So yeah, I definitely believe that the idea of them getting paid is not something that should be taboo or should be an issue where they think that they're paying people too much money. Because quite frankly, if you look at the bottom line, it's a lot of cash flowing through these teams and them paying these guys over, and it's prorated money. We're not talking about he gave him all that money up front. He just handed them a bag of money and said, here. This money is accrued over time as well. So you're not getting all this money up front. Only the guarantees are what you get. And that's even prorated. So yes, I definitely agree that you should get paid and get paid handsomely if you're the premier back, especially because, we're just 2 years away from the idea of them not wanting to pay running backs at all. Remember that conversation? Yeah. You had it a couple of years ago where they didn't want to pay running backs at all. Now they realize the value, right? Now we're coming full circle. Mm. So we'll see how this affects running backs down the line, coming up in the next 2 to 3 years. But I'm with you on the Colts, man. They definitely did right because if you look at it like this, if that deal expired in 2 years, that price might be double.
Right. And he's still balling.
Yeah.
You get that from somebody,
Right, because he'll be 29 when the deal expires. So yeah, they were smart to get ahead of it. I give him credit for that. Now, will the head coach be there to benefit from it is another question, but we'll get to that. Yeah. We'll get to that. So to round out the trio of running backs, what about Jahmyr Gibbs? How do you think about Jahmyr Gibbs' deal, AG? What do you think that was about? Do you think that he got his money and he being a premier running back there now with David Montgomery being gone? Do you think that was right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, they honestly should have been. I guess it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if it was reversed, we'd be saying the same thing about Bijan. One of them had to be first, but obviously they would have saved a little. But it is kind of crazy in the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs signed last, and then you look at his deal, and it's Bijan was 3 years, 75. 51 guaranteed. His is 3 years, 67.5, 51.5 guaranteed. So they just gave him for being as late in the game as they were, they didn't really lose out too bad. And obviously they had to do that, spending an early first round pick on him, shipping David Montgomery off. I mean, there's nothing else to do. So, it was also worth it in my opinion. And it's cool to just see this offseason, a little changing of the guard with paying the RBs.
Okay. All right, Archie, what you got over there about Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah, as far as Jahmyr Gibbs goes, absolutely worth every penny. Good on him for getting this massive contract, resetting the running back market. He is the top paid running back now, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So good on him for getting all that set. He absolutely deserves it. They drafted him top 5. When you draft a player at that high of a position, you want him to be Jahmyr Gibbs, exemplary off the field, fantastic on the field. I mean, he's what you want. And in an offseason, and now this is going to start to turn where I put some blame on the Lions here. On the other side of that coin, you knew you were going to need to sign Jahmyr Gibbs when you already let go of David Montgomery. So why in the hell did you wait until literally every other running back signed before you decided, okay, now let's give him a contract? Now, I preface that by saying this also could very well have been a strategy by the agent saying, we're going to hold off on signing. Let's see how the market plays out. There's a couple of other big pieces out there that we know are going to get signed, and we want to be the top paid running back. So I don't want to give full blame. However, I truly feel like the Lions should have kind of gotten around that by just jumping out way ahead. Boom. As soon as the offseason started, being like, look, here's the offer. You're going to be the highest paid running back. It's not going to be, what was it? What was it? 60 or what is he getting per year?
70,
31,
22 and a half.
22 and a half per year. Maybe
67 and a half overall.
67 and a half overall. Okay. Maybe that looks closer to 20 per year. And, you save yourself a little bit each and every year. But, you waited. And unfortunately, when you wait, you pay. And the Lions definitely had to do that. And but again, it's not like you're, and we'll get to the next player. It's not like you're overpaying for a guy that is nowhere near that talent level. Gibbs is, for all intents and purposes. So good on you for at least not giving it to a guy that didn't deserve it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
I did look. Gibbs is the highest paid. You'll never guess.
$500,000.
Not even a mil, like maybe 750,000.
Okay.
You never guess who 3 or 4 are.
Christian McCaffrey.
Number 3 is Devon Achane. Number 4 is Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love?
Because of where he was picked. That contract.
Oh, the contract. Oh, his top 5 contract. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So he's in the top 5 off
in total value. In total value. Yeah. He's 4th highest paid running back in the NFL.
Crazy. And he hasn't played a snap.
Haven't played it down.
And that don't tell you the running back position.
Too, though.
I mean, Achane, I can at least understand. He's the one guy that god awful team didn't trade.
They got money. They had the money.
Yeah. It's like we gotta have somebody on offense that's gonna put
butts I wonder with some of this too, if it was like, the Lions were like not quite sure how much money it would be. So they're like, let's just wait to see if one of these other teams signs Bijan, and puts kind of a mark on where it would go. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, the thing with that though is like, no matter what, you're gonna have to up it.
Oh,
it's like so no matter what, like you wait, you pay. If you wait for another team to sign, and the thing is, both of these guys were taken in the same year, right? Yeah, Bijan I think was 4. I think Gibbs was 6 or 7. Oh God,
I believe you're correct.
Okay, so like I don't know what the thought process. Again, if the agent is like, we're holding off, all bets are off, but if the agent's going to the table saying, I want to get something done, I don't know, as the Lions, how you didn't get something done sooner.
Bijan was 8. Jahmyr was 12. But
wow. I was totally off.
Well, Anthony Richardson was 4. It's easy to forget that.
Tyree
Wilson was 7. Who?
Right. Can we touch on that real quick?
Before Bijan, then Jalen Carter.
Look, right? No, but look what the Raiders passed up on to draft Tyree Wilson.
I know.
That's
In the top 10. It's
Oh
insane.
man, yeah. Literally, they took Tyree Wilson right after that. Bijan right after that. Jalen Carter
right
after that. Darnell Wright, pretty solid tackle.
Right, all Pro Bowl players. They passed
Gibbs.
on.
Have you seen that list of like historical Raiders draft picks of players they've taken before, and like guys went either a pick or two later, turned into like Hall of Famers, and they were just drafting busts.
Yeah,
Hey,
there's a lot of that.
Chiefs took Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know who went like 2 picks after? Jonathan Taylor.
Wow, in the second round, no less. Because Edwards-Helaire was the last first round pick in that draft, right?
Yes, how much time you got? Because I can read a whole novel of Tom Telesco reaching.
Well, yeah, true. That's true. Yeah, all right.
Let's move on.
We can move on. Yeah. So I have a slightly different take. I won't call it a contrarian take, but I have a slightly different take on Jahmyr Gibbs in this conversation. But the kid is dynamic. He's a great playmaker. Now, I guess you could say, I won't call it concern, but one thing we should note. That this is going to be the first year that he's going to be the premier back. He's not sharing carries with David Montgomery the first time in his career. That's one thing.
Yeah.
2, he's the he's the most undersized back in this conversation. He's the 199-pound running back. To be the bell cow of the team, that's a little concerning for me. Again, he has been, he's been nicked up here and there, but nothing significant. I don't wish it on him, but, just the law of physics tells me people that are undersized, the more they play, the more work they get, the risk becomes higher in regards to them getting hurt. So what I would have done, I would have paid him. I'm not going to refute that idea, but I would have also gotten him a compliment, a supplemental person that can could be reliable to take the pressure off him, so he don't have to shoulder the whole entire weight of the idea of running the football for the Lions. So. I guess you let Montgomery go. He wanted to go. I think that was the issue. Well, and I was going to get to that. Now he's hurt. And Pacheco was hurt. So yet again, there still lies a problem. You still have Jahmyr Gibbs, and then who else? That conversation. So I would have gotten aggressive in saying that I'm just going to get him a compliment, so we don't have to burn him out, because he is 199 pounds. He's not 210, 220 pounds like Taylor and Gibbs are. Taylor and Bijan are. They're more of a, I guess you can say, although they're 4.3 speed guys, they have a lot of more cushion, to absorb the punishment they're going to get ultimately by playing running back. So that's my only issue with the fact that they paid him and they didn't really go out and get him a true compliment after they traded off David Montgomery. So maybe that's something they'll look into. If something happens, something moves around in the preseason, before they get going in the regular season. But that's my only angst that he's a little bit on the lighter side. In his space. So that's the only thing that worries me about his deal. But the last one is, let's talk about Zay Flowers. The wide receiver in the conversation of I just got PTSD about my rant I had on the Electric Shock podcast about Quentin Johnston. I'm sorry. Yeah. So Jackson Smith-Njigba obviously got paid Offensive Rep Player of the Year, Super Bowl champion. And Zay Flowers in the same draft a few picks later now is a paid man as well. Quietly, Zay Flowers has definitely been productive for the Ravens, despite them being a run-heavy offense. He's been a 1,000-yard receiver his entire career for the Ravens, which is sneaky for me because I didn't expect that when I saw the stat line. I was like, really? He had that many yards, over the course of 3 years? So they went ahead and paid him and got ahead of it. And the amount of guaranteed money he got, $100 million in fully guaranteed dollars. Yeah, that's definitely a lot of coins for the Ravens. Another conversation about the regime change. Got Jesse Minter over there versus the Harbaughs, and who couldn't draft a receiver if he life depended on it when he was in Baltimore. But now they got Zay Flowers, obviously, and they have they drafted 2 more guys, and Jacoby Lane looks like the real deal. So what do you guys feel about this deal? Do you think it was an overreach? Do you think it was right on the money? Do you think that he earned it? What do you think about this particular deal, AG?
Yeah, I think it was 100% an overreach, but something that the Ravens ultimately had to do with what they have at wide receiver and their inability to, kind of find one. But I mean, that's a hell of a lot of money for what I would call, wide receiver 1B, not really a bona fide, true like X receiver. He's progressed every year, but I mean, he's tied with Justin Jefferson for the amount of money he's getting paid, and I sure as hell would not. I would 100% picking Justin Jefferson to be on my team over Zay Flowers.
Same breath.
All right, yeah, he's paid more than CeeDee Lamb. You know, Amon-Ra St. Brown. A lot like it's a lot of money for a dude that like has not, fully bursted onto the scene. Maybe they feel that's going to happen with the Declan Doyle and this new offense, but it's a hell of a lot of paper.
Yeah, I agree. All right, RG, go ahead and rip him a new one. I know you've been waiting for this one.
I'm going to preface everything I'm about to say with always players first. Go get your money. Good shit, Zay. I'm proud of you. That being said, overpay.
Wow.
Ain't no way Zay Flowers should be in the same breath as Justin Jefferson when it comes to how much money these guys should be making. Ain't no way. I love everything he's done. Again, Baltimore, like what AG said, they've had some real curses at wide receiver there in the first round in particular. Rashad Bateman. I'm blanking on the other one right now.
Hollywood Brown.
Thank you.
The list goes on.
Zay Flowers has kind of been the one that I wouldn't say, has exceeded expectations, but he's been the best of all the ones they've drafted so far, by far. That's not even close. Mm-hmm. So in regards to that, he did deserve to get paid, but I mean, for that amount, I mean, you still have Lamar that, is going to want to restructure, get an extension coming up. You just gave another fat stack to Trey Hendrickson, to a guy who's going to be on the wrong side of 30 very soon. I don't know. You just got a defensive head coach and you give out a giant contract to an offensive player who really is not in the conversation of top wide receiver. I don't know. I feel like, but this is why, it's always preached. If you want to play football, become a wide receiver, because goddamn, they be making that cheddar.
That's for sure.
This is a lot of cheddar for a guy who don't even play in Green Bay. So I think
quarterbacks and wide receivers are in good company when it comes to getting paid. I agree with that.
If you're a bigger kid, O-line tackle.
True. Yeah. Yes. Left tackle specifically.
$35 million a year, dude.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah,
I think good shit though, Zay.
I think they were in a conversation of they were kind of trapped in a sense, and they had the luxury of doing it because of this. Because there are two other receivers that they're going to likely prominently feature are rookies. They went out and got Jacoby Lane, who by all accounts is killing people in practice up to this point. I mean, he's been wowing everybody in the conversation. So you're going to look at it from a perspective that he's going to be outside X. Elijah Sherrod probably going to be the other outside wide receivers. They're going primarily to work out a slot. Now, to y'all's point, we've never seen a slot receiver, a predominantly slot receiver, get paid at this clip. I mean, you look at the annual APY for these receivers on this list. Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Justin Jefferson, just to name a few. They're all receivers that can play all multiple positions. They can blood out on the slot, outside, X, Y, doesn't matter. But he's primarily a slot guy. And he's, again, going back to my point about Gibbs, he's a smaller frame guy. So he's going to primarily be a slot guy. He's very shifty, very fast, very elusive. He's a really good route runner. He does it all, but just in a smaller frame, in that conversation. I will argue that his skill set could be on par with a Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase is just a bigger player, right? And again, he can play on in any side, any position on the field, but Zay is more like a bona fide slot, and kind of scares me for a contract for a guy like Ladd McConkey if he has a good year this year, Archie. Because if Zay can pay that kind of money, what do you think Ladd going to want?
Exactly.
And if UJ balls out, you gotta pay.
You're gonna let Jacksonville do that one, or
nah, he's gonna go to you guys.
No.
You don't even want him.
That's evil on me.
Ricky Bobby.
I'll say this really, really quick. Last point about the Ravens here. I would have given that money to Tyler Linderbaum and Isaiah Likely. I feel like both of those guys combined are way bigger value than what Zay gives you.
You got a point.
I mean, tell me I'm not wrong that Tyler Linderbaum is a more important offensive piece than Zay Flowers.
Yeah, maybe it's a political move. You know, I mean, you're looking at it from a dynamic playmaker versus I guess you can say a stalwart center, one of the better centers in the league. So it's not sexy, but I mean, you know, it's, and again, they kind of righted themselves or kind of make themselves look like geniuses because they did finally go out and get a center very late in the game. And they went out and signed a center finally because they didn't draft one, which was a lot in the draft. They didn't sign Tyler Linderbaum, you know, to a new deal. So they got lucky.
Yeah,
so they did solidify their center position, but yeah, so now they look like geniuses. But I was worried because I was like, Lamar have a center in this conversation? Yeah, I don't know. But now they're fine with it. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, again, you either, I don't know. I don't know this conversation where you could, you know, potentially have traded him and got, you know, something back for him if you didn't feel like you wanted to pay him. But yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But again, the numbers are the numbers. Again, do you really want to play that game? You know, with people, you can really make people disgruntled and, you know, piss them off, and they just really are going to stick to a number. You know, I think when you draw the line in the sand about a franchise tag, people are going to draw the line in the sand of how much I want to get paid. I'm not going to give you any deals if you franchise tag me, because now you're playing with my future. You know, but if you give me a long-term deal, then I might give you a break. Unless you structure it a certain way.
You with this.
Well,
I mean, he did it. At this point, you might as well have franchise tagged him.
Right.
I mean,
it might have been. Well, I wonder what the franchise tag is for wide receivers at this point. It's up there.
I mean, it's because it's like the average of the.
Yeah, so it's probably in the 25 to 30 range. Yeah. I think 28. I think 28. I think that's what George Pickens is making. George Pickens is making 28, I think. So it's about $28 million. So you say you sell $7 million.
27.2. Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah. So
I feel like this team is a little bit kind of win now. Derrick Henry, you know, if this isn't his last elite season, or if this isn't his last elite season, how many more really truly does he have? One more after this?
Yeah.
I mean,
you need to start thinking about the future in that regard too. Hopefully there's a running back in the draft that you can pick up to kind of help him out, but we'll see. But yes. Yeah, well, all about getting your money. We're just curious about a slot receiver making $100 million guaranteed. Woo, that's a lot. A lot of cheddar cheese. All right, any final thoughts on these, gentlemen?
I've said all I needed to say.
Indeed. All right, so let's move on down the line. Let's talk about what's next. We got a lot of free agents on the book still that haven't signed with teams. Some really notable names in free agency. Things are trickling out. I think Stephon Diggs finally made himself useful in Washington. We saw Darren Waller just, you know, a few minutes ago before we went live go to the Panthers. But there's still some big time names out here, for guys to be picked up. Taylor Decker is a name that I'm still baffled why he's a free agent. It's a stalwart left tackle for the Lions all those years. I don't know what happened there, but he's no longer with the Lions, so he's a free agent. And some people have lost their left tackles already and they haven't, I don't get it. But from a free agent perspective, I guess give me one or two guys you think that that will be impact players that could land somewhere on a team that could really move the needle. I'll start with you, AG.
Yeah, I won't take the low hanging fruit there.
Okay.
with old Decker, but I do agree he's probably the most highly touted one that's left. But one I think I put on here, and it's kind of interesting that you brought it up earlier. We were talking about Gibbs, but I think Najee Harris is a guy that's out there that could. I mean, I put down either Detroit or Indy, or maybe even Seattle. But
Coach brought it up earlier about Detroit. I'm like, oh no, don't tell me they're going to take it.
I mean, I put Detroit first, and then Indy or Seattle. But I mean, all three of those are. Places that, Seattle, I mean, they figure out what they have with Price, but I mean, the other ones, they need kind of a running mate with the running back they have. I think the devil's advocate to it, though, is Najee's not a very healthy option. So, who knows what he does if he's even able to provide you that type of benefit for a whole season. But looking at the running backs that are left, he's really the only intriguing one. The others are on the wrong side of a certain age and have just as much, if not more, injury baggage than that. So that's the offensive guy I would note. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm very curious to see where Joey Bosa goes. But I think a team like, Chicago or Detroit, who kind of still need a solidified veteran edge rusher. I mean, he could be the perfect solution to that, a rotational piece that, I mean, he still had 5 sacks last year, and would just help bolster depth. So I think those two, outside of the one you alluded to start the segment, are pretty impactful free agents still out there and are definitely going to sign on somewhere.
Okay. All right, RG, what's your second guy? Because I know he took you first.
Man, I was gonna give a whole thing about funny you should mention that Gibbs needs someone a workhorse back because there's just the guy. No, but as far as somebody I feel like should be signed, I'm gonna go. It's gonna be a homer pick with the offensive side of the ball. They'll never do it, but a guy can dream. I really hope the Chargers go out and still get Kevin Zeitler. I really feel like the right guard position, I'm not confident at all with Cole Strange. I feel like Zeitler can slot in there and give them just some very solid reps at right guard. We're not looking for elite, obviously top 10, top 15 even. We just need serviceable. I think with Biotish at center, for the guards especially, having a good center is massive. And I think just that upgrade from Bradley Bozeman to Biotish is going to elevate the guards, a bit in that. And so to just get some better talent in there, some veterans, guys have been here, done this, know what they need to do. For a win now, I think, a nice 1 year prove it deal, well, not even prove it deal, but just a 1 year rental contract essentially, to just bolster the offensive line even more. I think for a team, like the Chargers, who are obviously looking to make a big push this season, it just makes all the sense in the world.
Okay.
For the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go with another veteran, a big-time veteran, in Bobby Wagner. Now, I am this is going to be kind of a weird one, and many people may not agree with this, but I like a homecoming reunion and him to go back to Seattle. I think it's just kind of it's a familiar place, of course, coming off a Super Bowl. They lost a lot of pieces in the offseason. So just, again, reinforcing, and just having that veteran leadership that, Wagner provides. He's still one of the most sure tackler linebackers in the game. And I think, just having, he's going to be extra motivated to be playing for, his original team that, drafted him. So, yeah, I think a nice reunion. It's not going to be an expensive contract by any means. And I think, it's going to the value he will bring in the locker room will far outweigh whatever contract you give him.
True. And they're quite young outside of one guy. Ernest Jones, I think, is their starter middle linebacker. But outside of that, they got some young guys in the room that he can, definitely influence and get them, playing at a different level. Just on mentorship alone in that conversation. So I'm not mad at that. That's a pretty good pick. Assuming Bobby still want to play football. I mean, getting right. Things like that. But he is up in age, so there's a question. They went out and got Sonny Styles, so they no longer need him in Washington, obviously. So yeah, it is what it is. He is the Super Bowl champion, all that in that regard. A really good talent, but he is getting long in the tooth. So, but yeah, I definitely like that. That's a good one for sure. So, obviously, we're talking about Washington for real quick. I will address Taylor Decker. I think Washington should have got on the phone immediately and called Taylor Decker when he lost Tunsil, right? That should have been a layup. Maybe they still will, but because they want to bump their right guard out who played tackle before, bump him back out to left tackle. So I'm like,
terrible idea.
I don't like it. But get Jane Day coming off an injury. Do you really want to risk his safety? But
there's a reason for that switch at left tackles, because their other left tackle is a guy that Alex is very familiar with, Andrew Wiley.
Oh, you're right.
He's Andrew Wiley. He's the starting left tackle right now.
Well, according to what Dan Quinn said, they're going to bump the left guard out to left tackle. That's what they're saying they were going to do.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. That's because they saw Wiley do one practice and said, "Mother of God."
You're right. Please,
we can't do this.
Yeah, please, mommy, not him. Yes, indeed. But getting deeper into the weeds in regards to, I just talked about with Detroit having a reserve back, or I guess you can say a back that can complement Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll be calling Nick Chubb. I would call Nick Chubb and let him be that bruising power back that they can use for those gritty yards. So you don't have to rely on the 199-pound 4.3 speed Jahmyr Gibbs to get you that tough 1 yard. If you need a tough 1 yard, why not Nick Chubb? So I would call Nick Chubb. He's way more on the conversation of durable outside of the gruesome knee injury he had. He's been pretty serviceable. So I would argue that that would help Jahmyr not have to have 300 touches in the first 8 weeks. And to kind of save his legs in a sense and save him, your investment, because you just invested big dollars in him, so you want to preserve it, right? So I would call Nick Chubb if I'm the Detroit Lions. That's one thing. Secondly, on defensive side, I think the Bears have an issue with pass rush, in my opinion. I think that they need a pass rusher. I would call Hassan Reddick if I were them. To help my pass rush room out. If nothing else, just to be a designated pass rusher. You don't got to come in on first and second down. Deo and Sweat can handle the run game. Just bring him in. We need a good pass rush. Have a three-headed rush monster with them three and just go to work, because again, you got great corners. You have some nicks and bruises in the safety room, but and it's a thin room. But outside of that, you get pretty solid, in that particular side of the ball. So you got to get up to the quarterback. You don't want to have them double and Sweat all night and not be able to get to the quarterback. So I would definitely call Hassan Reddick if I'm them. I'll find me a pass rusher from some avenue.
Or Vaughn.
Or Vaughn. Vaughn's older, obviously. Yeah, I'd definitely call him somebody.
Yeah. I was going to say, with Hassan, you even have that chemistry with Josh Sweat from their time when they were on the Eagles. So
yes.
Even makes more sense.
Exactly. They already know each other. So that's a slam dunk for me. So that's what I would do.
I got to confirm this, because I wrote this down and I got to see. Oh, hell yeah, he did. Von Miller had 9 sacks last year.
Really?
Quietly, dude.
Very quiet. Very quiet.
37% of snaps played, 9 sacks.
Wow. And that's 37% in snaps and 9 sacks. That is as quiet as Zay Flowers' receiving yards were.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Sure, Coach, we should go get Vaughn.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know he had that many.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I wrote that down and I looked at it again and I'm like, that can't be right.
You just sign him and say, Vaughn, don't put your helmet on the third down. That's all we need.
Yeah, Vaughn, you don't even got to come to practice. We already know what you're going to do.
Exactly. Just stay in shape and just
do
show
whatever it is you do. Yeah.
Right.
Just do whatever you did to Colonel Sanders.
Coach Klein said I could. Yes. So I'm intrigued about Trayvon Diggs. I'm thinking about Stephon in Washington and protecting Jaden Daniels' mom. But that's
there's kind of a good amount of the sneaky good amount of corners out there.
I know. Trayvon, Marshawn Lattimore still out there, I believe. So yeah.
Kenny Moore, Lattimore still out there.
Yeah. So
Kenny
somebody
Moore's
can use a good veteran.
Guess Tre'Davious White, but didn't he retire?
Did he?
I thought so.
I didn't see that, but he might have. It's possible. It's possible. So yeah. I mean, again, if you need a corner or edge rusher or left tackle, Commanders, why not? Because definitely some guys out there they can help you out. At least be a stopgap so you can fill that void permanently in some fashion. But yeah, that's definitely a good one. So any other free agents I can think of they can land somewhere before we move on?
Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs.
Oh my God.
Well, you can have him now because apparently he don't have any strength in that leg.
I know. It ain't gonna happen until super late. It's either gonna be the Chiefs or the Rams. So it's gonna be hella late in the year.
Whoever is more contention, that's probably gonna be the team he goes to, right?
Rams,
yeah. Can you imagine Tyreek Hill with Puka and Devontae? That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. Aaron Donald, Miles Gill on the other side. That's a super team.
Oh, come on.
That is an all Madden team.
Seriously.
But matter of fact, don't do that until after you play the Chargers. You can do it however you want after that. Just after you play the Chargers, because we don't want to deal with that drama. Yes. Okay. All right. So that's your free agent recap or free agency predictions of guys that may land somewhere in the next couple of weeks. So moving on to week 1, we're here. Preseason is ready, man. We got some things going on in that particular aspect of it. But like I said in the top of the show, week 1 is here. Preseason for everybody is started. Starting tomorrow. Games are on. I think we got 4 games tomorrow and 4 games Friday and then Saturday and Sunday. Got a full slate of games all day. So if you're doing nothing but sitting on your couch, there'll be football on your TV. So, gentlemen, let's talk about storylines in regards to the preseason. are the storylines? What are the biggest storylines that you're tracking that you want to, I guess you can see watch play out in the preseason, starting with week 1? Start with you, G.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is probably got to be this Browns QB conundrum, and which one of those?
Mine.
Well,
we gotta stop letting AG go first, man.
I know, right? Well, you did to me last pod, RG. So
no wonder I haven't gone first once.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm only going in the order
RG
how we on the
gets the
screen.
snickle
It's not
fritz
personal,
time.
brother. It's not personal.
Takes my topics, he gets the snickle fritz, dude.
I see through the lines of the Jedi ways.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's got to be probably the biggest, if not definitely one of the biggest storylines to watch as the preseason develops. Obviously, we've got the Deshaun Watson battle. All reports have been they both are certifiable ass right now. So
what?
Time will tell. We've got Todd Monken, adding more fuel to it every day when he gets in front of a microphone. So it's going to be a very intriguing preseason. And just I think that's going to be the most exciting battle to watch, during this 3-week stretch.
Yeah, good point. And they're definitely both going to have to play because we have no clear winner in this conversation yet. Although they named Deshaun the starter for this one, I think we might have talked about it backstage about how we feel like that Deshaun's going to start 1 week and Shador's going to start another week. But they'll just trade off until they figure out who's going to be the one air quote person that's ahead of the room. Now, let me ask you this, since you brought that up, because this is something I was going to bring up because I say you stole my topic. But in regards to this particular conversation, and this is leaning towards Kyler Murray winning over JJ McCarthy, right? So what does that mean for Deshaun Watson if he loses the job? Because he's the one highly paid person in this conversation. Shador's the 5th round pick. This contract is definitely not of the ilk of Deshaun. So if Deshaun loses out to Shador, hypothetically, what does that mean for Deshaun Watson's livelihood? Let me say it that way.
He's out of the league.
It's done.
Okay.
I don't think I don't know if he'd necessarily be out of the league, but he ain't getting. No more bags for him. He's going to be league minimum veteran backup for a while.
And I think someone like him, after everything he's gone through, I almost feel like, and the fact that he was absolutely blessed with that contract, whether he deserved it or not, take that for what you will. Call it divine intervention or just Brown's stupidity. Both are very much on the table. I think at that point, your career is kind of done. I mean, we've seen him on an NFL field, and he does not belong by any stretch.
He used to look like he did.
He did, it was miraculous, and he is truly, without a doubt, one of the biggest what if in NFL history.
He's the 10th highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
and he's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and if he doesn't right the ship this year and get back to anywhere close to the form he was in Houston, that got to be one of the greatest fall offs in the NFL history. I mean, you looking at they were talking top 5, top 10, 10-ish. How you rated it when he was at his height.
I mean, his last year in Houston, he almost threw 5,000 yards, 33 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying. He was they were talking. That's why everybody figured the contract he's going to get a bag. It's just a question of what the bag was going to be. It wasn't a question of if, it's how much. Just Cleveland swooped in and gave him fully guaranteed, money in his special. That pissed off every owner in the league outside of the Browns. But yeah, so. And then he didn't play a meaningful down since then, if I have my numbers correct. So that's the issue.
I mean, yeah, he's played in the most games he's played in since he signed that contract is 7 in a season.
Wow.
6. Yeah. 6 and 6, the other 2. Yeah, man. He
hasn't even played half a season yet.
That's what I'm saying. So you gotta cash in and play, for the season. I mean, if they're terrible and they're looking at a top 5 draft pick around week 13, 14-ish, they're probably giving the hook and let Shador play. But he's gotta look decent, in the conversation that they can, justify that money at all. Because right now they got egg all over their face.
Yeah.
That's sure.
I kind of feel like just given money wise and like the Browns are gonna do everything they can to save some face on the amount of money they spent. Like unless Deshaun Watson just goes out and throws an interception every time he touches the field this preseason, he's going to be a starting quarterback for week one.
Yeah, I mean, just on money alone, I would agree with that. But there's a conversation. I mean, Shador looks like, because let's be honest. I mean, he's, whatever you believe about what he did off the field, whatever your belief is your belief. I'm not going to get into that. But the opinion on Deshaun is not great. He is persona non grata for most people right now. And Shador, conversely, is selling jerseys. Like, people are advocating for him to play in Cleveland. So you got to look at that from that perspective, because if nothing else, if jerseys are falling off the shelf, which if Shador is playing, you got to look at it from a business perspective. If he's head and shoulders above Deshaun in play wise, when it comes down to how they look in the preseason, and he's selling jerseys, if you're the man, if you're the owners and the GM for the Browns, and the monkey, from a perspective of being the first time head coach, you got to ride the hot hand, do you not?
Not if you're Jimmy Haslam. He's going to step in and say, nope, I want that guy to start, and that guy's going to start.
Well, that's the thing. He loved Shador last year. Remember, he wanted to push the button on Stefanski taking him. They didn't want it.
But like you said, he needs to save some face and somewhat try to justify that contract he gave Watson. You flat out start Shador to start the season. You're already saying that's it. It's over. You admit defeat right off the bat. He's going to at least try to get something out of Watson. He'll start. Book it now. Mark my words. Watson will start the first 6-7 games, and when they're winless in those games, that's when Shador is going to come in.
You heard it. I don't know. I think it's a tougher decision. I think it's a tougher decision for my money. I really do. I think that from a perspective of, I guess you can say, what's best for the team and the morale of the team. If people are rallying behind Shador because they're looking at him as the better quarterback, the team, the fans, all that working against you. You've eaten the money up to this point. He's been with them 3 years, and he hadn't played more than 7 games.
He hasn't played half the season.
He's damn near played he's played one full season of games in the 3 years.
In the time frame. With him. So what's another year if you're going to be in better conversation? Unless you're already looking at it from a projection that you're trying to air quote tank for whoever's going to be in the draft next year. So I mean, if you already got that on your mind, then it is what it is. So you throw Deshaun out there knowing that he's going to shit the bed, and he obviously going to be a top 5 or top 3 pick in the draft next year. Then it is what it is. But I don't know. But I would think that you could be smart about it because you got Dylan Gabriel behind him, who's even worse than the other two.
Yeah. It's crazy though. I just looked at Dylan Gabriel's stats, and he was kind of way better than Shador. Better percentage wise, had 7 touchdowns to 2 picks. I was like, damn, I think it's just because he's a midget. So,
well, in that space, I also think he had a little bit of play into it too. Because I don't think Stefanski wanted. It's why the reason why he's gone. Yeah. I don't think Stefanski had any inclination of helping Shador look successful at all. It's why he's not there anymore, because that's that's the owner siding with the quarterback he wanted versus them, the head coach. So. But yeah, again, it's all speculation in my conspiracy brain, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, I think that it's just a conversation. I mean, I would say that if you're going to ride with Deshaun and try to be bad this year, appear to be competitive, but you want to be bad because you want to draft a new quarterback, then you throw Deshaun out there, keep Dylan Gabriel back up, and trade Shador to somebody that's an eating quarterback. That conversation. So, hell, trade him to the Cardinals. See what happens. We'll see. But although Carson Beck looked great last week, so that's a little different animal in that space. But all right, RG, what you got for headlines? Do you got another headline, AG, before I move on to RG?
I'll let you guys go, and then
I
have another.
We'll circle back.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll circle back. All right, RG, what you got?
Yeah, so my headline for the first week of preseason is going to be Fernando Mendoza. According to Clayton Kubiak, he has reported that Fernando Mendoza is going to get, quote, plenty of playing time in this first preseason game against the Cardinals at home. So by that, I'm expecting at minimum at least the first half or second half, depending on how they want to do it. But judging by what he's saying, I'm going to assume it's probably going to be maybe at least 3 quarters there or something along those lines, 2.5 or something like that. First drive at a halftime, whatever. But I think this is really gonna, we're finally gonna get to see some film of him on an NFL field. Again, it is preseason. He's going up against a lot of second, third team, not really starting caliber guys, but you're going to really start to see how he handles, the pressure and handles being an NFL player, a lot of guys, that first initial step, trying to overcome that is very difficult. And, to see if he just, we come away from that game and, he looks comfortable out there. He, maybe threw a touchdown or two, ran a little bit, we'll see what he can do. I think that's more or less what you want to see as a Raiders fan. Obviously, if you're a Raiders fan, you want to see him just absolutely ball the fuck out. Throw 3 touchdown passes in the first half, just absolutely light it up. But I think you just want to see him be comfortable out there. And this will definitely, play a lot into the Raiders deciding if they want to start him or not for week 1. I've always been on the bus and the train that
you're gonna say it. I knew you're gonna say it.
Yeah, I'm always gonna say it when it comes to these young quarterbacks,
on that bus,
especially number 1 overall picks. You got to start them immediately. You got to know what you have. This whole waiting thing. If you're gonna take somebody that needs to wait, they don't deserve to be taken in the first round. That's just my opinion. I've always firmly believed that if you're a quarterback being taken in the first round, you should start immediately because you're in a first round talent. You are expected to start immediately and you're expected to contribute immediately. Now, obviously, the leeway starts to go the further down the first round you get, but definitely for a first overall pick, that there is no leeway. You need to show immediately that you were the reason you need to show immediately why you were the number 1 overall pick and prove all the haters and the doubters wrong and show the Raiders that they didn't make a mistake. They made the right choice and, the future is bright. So I think it's a preseason game, but there is still a bit of pressure on Mendoza to at least show he's NFL caliber.
Okay. I like it.
It's funny though, Coach, you asked me if I had one. I shit you not. My second one was how will Mendoza translate in the NFL? I kind of smirked once RG started going. I was like, damn, I would have taken his too if you had me go again.
That is funny.
And national championship rematch coming up against Carson Beck. So that'd be kind of.
Oh, that's right.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Little nugget of information that we didn't. That's a good one. A little bit. Okay. Good stuff. For me, I think that it's interesting because it's more of a, I guess you call it a deeper dive because we know that he's not going to start this year based upon who's in front of him, right? But by all intents and purposes, because I brought this up in our draft coverage and our sleeper segment, and I don't know if it was RG or AG was on a video with me when we talked about sleepers. I think it was RG. I'm almost positive it was you. We talked about quarterbacks and how the class was we just kind of skipped over it.
Oh, yeah.
Because we everybody outside of Mendoza was kind of like everybody was kind of off of them. Yep. But Drew Aller, ladies and gentlemen, has been lighting shit up in Steelers practice. He looks really good in McCarthy's offense. So I'm looking forward to seeing Drew Aller play some snaps for the Steelers and see if that translates to, the actual game, I won't call it a simulation, but in actual game, live fire action going against a different team because, he's been on time. He's been accurate as hell. Arm strength, the everything that I talked about for his physical traits. Because I kind of touched on it just a slight bit, but I just didn't understand the idea of what happened. I do realize he did get hurt, but he even before the first 5 games before he got hurt, he was struggling at Penn State. Because everybody had him in the top 10, conversation of being one of the prospects to come out of the draft that's going to be an elite quarterback to pick up in the 2026 draft. So he fell to I want to say like the 5th round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's amazing the fact that they might have kind of stumbled into their franchise quarterback because we've all argued the idea of the Pittsburgh never want to reset things in a sense and go high with draft a quarterback or move waves to draft a quarterback high to kind of bring themselves back into fold since Ben Roethlisberger has been retired. So if they lucked up into a good franchise quarterback Aller that late, they struck gold in my opinion. The kid is 6'5". Yeah, 3rd round. I'm sorry, I undersold it. I'm third round. Excuse me. Yeah, so they took him in the 3rd round. Yeah, so so clearly Mike McCarthy saw something in the kid. He has all the traits. He's mobile, tall, 6'5", has cannon arm, and they kind of poo-poo on his accuracy. But sheesh, I can't tell. All these practice film I've been seeing, he's looked like a monster. So if he lights it up in preseason, man, the Steelers might have stole one. It's just a conversation where you looked at it from. He didn't do much in his last year of college, so people kind of forgot about him. But, for all of his purposes, he has all the physical traits to be a good quarterback. But I don't think we're looking at it after the Richardson conversation. I think we might be looking at a franchise guy if he pans out. So we'll see. we'll see. But that's gonna be a good one for Mike McCarthy to kind of hang his hat on if he hit that mark. So I'm looking to lean on that particular storyline for the preseason. So we want to get anybody got any secondary ones they want to address? I got one more if y'all don't have any.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've kind of talked about. I know we've talked about this situation as a whole, but I think it's going to be interesting, especially in week 1, but through the preseason, just to see how the Eagles' offensive philosophy is going to look with Sean Mannion calling plays. A guy who,
I like that.
As I pointed out a couple weeks ago, was on the Seahawks active roster in 2023. So he's quite literally fresh off the field into the booth. And we all know the turmoil with the Eagles OC, the Eagles offense. Like I said a couple weeks ago, they've kind of been trying to rebuild things on the fly while also depleting some pretty big assets in their game. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously Saquon and Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts are not playing that much in the preseason, but we're at least going to get a look of what Mannion likes to do in terms of setting things up. Is he a big RPO guy? How are they going to do that stuff, and how is it going to differentiate from some of the crap we've seen from the Eagles offense, the past few seasons?
I like that. That's a good one. RG, you got any more? I got one more if you don't have any.
No, yeah, go for it.
Okay. I think that the Saints intrigue me. Is Tyler Shuck going to play in the preseason? Chris Olave, Jordan Tyson, who he drafted, that in that particular offense, Kellen Moore in the second year. I think that could be a really sneaky team. I mean, if they start to show a few things from a progression standpoint from Tyler Shuck, man, they might have struck one too. I mean, we didn't give Tyler Shuck much of a shot at being, a franchise guy, but he played decent in the back end of last year. If that continues or he progresses, he's really comfortable in his office now because he spent a whole year with Kellen Moore. So that could be a storyline too. I think that it'd be right to play him just a little bit, just to kind of keep him, in trending in that direction. But yeah, I'm looking to see what the Saints look like on offense, especially, man. I think it's going to be a interesting conversation with them in that division because, we don't know what the Bucs going to be like. The Panthers, to me, is the favorite, but they keep getting injured left and right. They keep losing players, so we don't know. And we Atlanta is a wild card too. We don't even know who the damn quarterback's going to be at this point. So it's wide open. It really is wide open. And if you're not careful and the Saints play well, I mean, you would argue they got the least drama. They got the least amount of drama right now. If they can get a decent amount of play out of their quarterback, then it could strike gold. It could win it. You can imagine them being the division winners this year. That'd be crazy.
That would be wild. I'll make a quick point too to kind of support both your takes here regarding Sean Mannion and the Saints. Talking about how these quarterbacks just retire and quickly they're already promoted offensive coordinators. Just to name a few, obviously Sean Mannion, David Blau for the Commanders. Yep. And then Kellen Moore, of course, is the head coach. Davis Webb. So these, I guess the league has kind of seen the success that Kellen Moore had and has decided that, hey, these backup quarterbacks, they weren't the best on the field, but their minds and all these different, schemes that they absorbed of all the years and being in different franchises and different coaching rooms, things like that. There's a lot of value there. And I think we might start to see we've already kind of started it, but I think we'll start to see a much sharper trend in these former quarterbacks taking on, maybe not as quickly coordinator and head coaching jobs, but, pass game coordinators, things like that, quarterbacks, coaches. I think it's going to be a little bit of a new era in that regard.
Yeah, and they're doing right by aligning themselves with good play callers to be their air quote mentors. You got Declan Doyle, align himself with Ben Johnson. Everybody that's come through the McVay tree, the Shanahan tree, just to name a few. So, right, and it's a resurgence with offensive play callers, rising the ranks pretty quickly. Because I would argue that anybody that you named or is in that pipeline, they're going to be in line for a head coaching job soon if they hit right. Yeah. So because everybody's saying just hire the head coach that is a good play caller, and then the fact that you have the prowess of being a quarterback or just knowing the quarterback position to that degree because you play quarterback all your life, no matter whether or not you were really successful as a in your performance on the field or not, cerebrally the game, you can see it. It's definitely ingrained in you. So that was going to do nothing but support your quarterback in that conversation. So if you got a franchise quarterback that you need to make hit, because again, we always say that if your franchise quarterback is not hitting, you don't have anything. So if that particular ideology is going to continue, these guys are going to be head coaches before you know it, assuming that they hit. So I'm definitely intrigued to see what Declan Doyle does, and Sean Mannion for sure. And interesting too about Davis Webb, because I mean he's under Sean Payton and he's going to have the reins. But I heard Sean say yesterday that it's going to be a tag team effort. It's not going to be just him calling it wolves.
Already stepping back.
Yeah, exactly. Already walking back, right? Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely you're spot on with that argument, because these offensive coordinators are doing right as far as the matriculation is concerned, and they're shooting up the ranks really quick. That's for sure.
Well, you think about some of them too, like when RG was making his point, not to be the Homer Mizzou fan, but I kind of thought of someone like Chase Daniel, who's played for like Sean Payton, Andy Reid. I mean, was in Detroit, was like all these, made all these stops. It's like, like just to be able to pick that mind. And, today I feel like in the NFL, at least on the offensive side of the ball, it's all about, developing a young quarterback. And it's like, what better asset for that than someone who's like been drugged through all the grind forever and like been in the same room as, top tier NFL play calling minds. It's like, that's how you tap into it.
I agree.
I've pounded the table for Phillip Rivers to come, back and back to the organization and be a coach in some regard, because same thing.
Yeah, assuming we have the last year.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to be player coach.
Right. Oh, that's funny. That's like the youngest, I was longest John reference. Yes. Just great saying that. Just great saying. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, that's a good one. Damn, that's a good one, man. But I agree, man. If Phillip definitely wants to coach, and Chase Daniel has an easy. Granted, he's doing a really good podcast now, but shouts out to him. But I think that he would be great, and he can call Kellen Moore tomorrow and be on his staff today. In my opinion, he was in LA when Kellen Moore was there. So clearly Kellen Moore is the guy, and he's the play caller, but he can be under him and just get the experience from that coaching perspective. Just start to, air quote, get your feet wet. And then once he really wants to be, to the point where he wants to branch out his own, I'm sure he'll have a path. So, yeah. So I definitely like that argument as well. But, yeah, these ex-quarterbacks being offensive coordinators is definitely a slam dunk idea for sure. All right. Anything else before we move on, gentlemen?
Nope.
All righty. So lastly, let's talk about breakout performers in this particular season, in preseason especially. So, guys that are in their first year, second year, maybe even third year in this space, that are, kind of on the precipice of stardom, right? So who do you guys think, is going to be, one or two guys that you have on your list that are going to be breakout performers in the preseason that should matriculate into the regular season? How about you, AG?
Yeah, I'm going to pick, I got a long list here of,
okay.
Mostly rookies or like intriguing battles from things I've seen. But one guy, and I will preface some of this is from my own dynasty wishes. But
okay.
I think with the Raiders wide receiver room and the fact that there's nobody in there, or nobody's really taken that step forward, I think it's going to be interesting to see what Jack Beck does. A guy that they took pretty early. I want to say third round last year, maybe somewhere. But guy out of LSU, right. Productive wide receiver in LSU. Some people thought he would kind of have a pretty big impact as a rookie, and he didn't. So,
second round, pick 26.
Okay, so early. He was an early ass pick, and he had he was averaging. He had better stats at LSU than some of the big names that are in the league right now. And one, that goes by ODB. But so, the potential is there. Like, he had the production in college, just for whatever reason, did absolutely almost nothing last year. So I think, he's poised to take a big step forward. I imagine they're going to get him out there early and often in the preseason to help kind of facilitate that to roll into the regular season. So, that's a guy I'm definitely watching, throughout the preseason to see if he actually does that.
Okay. All right, RG. Who you got on your list? This top breakout performer.
Yeah, I'm going with the homer pick, sue me. It's Trey Harris.
I knew you were going to say that.
I am so excited to see Trey Harris start to really come. He's already made some incredible catches in training camp.
That he has.
I think he, obviously there was a lot of talk about like, does he fit McDaniel's system? Does he fit what they're trying to do? From all indications, he looks like he fits just fine in the McDaniel system. And I really want to see him. We already saw a little bit of him in the regular season last year, and the little bit we did see was fantastic. He's an amazing blocker, great route runner, amazing hands. So I really just want to see him back in action, and especially in the preseason is where he's going to get most of his play. Obviously with the starters and Ladd and QJ being out. So I'm definitely very excited to see. I think he has the potential not to be like a massive breakout because the wide receiver room is a bit crowded there in Los Angeles, but I do think he has the potential to really come onto the scene and make a name for himself this year. Maybe be a little bit of like a, kind of like take over that Keenan Allen role, just that reliable third down, reception guy. I'm very, very excited to see how he looks like. And are we giving 2? Did you give 2, Alex?
I only gave 1 initially. I was going to go through.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
RG. Come on. I'm kidding.
I'm gonna give I'm gonna dig into the weeds a little bit here. Again, I'm a defensive guy, so I'm gonna start there. I'm actually intrigued to see what Mike Green looks like in Jesse Miller's off defense. I think that with them having Trey Henderson on one side, Mike Green coming in to play the other edge position for the Ravens, I think that with Trey Henderson being the focal point, he could have a sneaky good, second year as a Raven. I think that could be a storyline to kind of write itself in a sense because we know. Nothing else. Jesse Miller can dial up some pressure. He definitely could do that in some unique ways. So playing games with him and a few other guys, I think he drafted Zion Young this past year as well. So they got like a 3-headed rush monster over there as well. So I think him playing a lot of different, twist stunts and a lot of manipulative games up front. I think that's going to be really good for Mike Green's ascension. So I'm going to love to see what he does as being a secondary guy from the pass rush conversation in Baltimore. So I'm definitely looking at Mike Green first, and then we'll get to AG next. I got another guy I want to talk about as well. I'm kind of hoping he didn't get stolen because this is a good one. Go ahead though, AG.
Oh, I thought you were about to go. I mean, you can go.
No. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I think it's a little bit. It's a little bit of a deep cut. So
I'll tell you, none of mine are defense. Being the former offensive guy, I didn't note any defensive players because who cares? No, but I wouldn't be the Chiefs fan on here if I didn't shout out Cyrus Allen. Though I'm excited to see what he does. He's got a lot of preseason hype. He is kind of banged up right now. He's left practice a few times the last week, so I don't know if he'll even play. And sometimes I feel like, sometimes like the writing's on the wall with the Chiefs. If someone doesn't play, then that kind of tells you like they're planning on using them a lot in the regular season. So I mean, it may all this excitement may not end up being anything, but I think another guy I'm interested to see is Nicholas Singleton in Tennessee, the running back they took out of Penn State. Has all the stats coming out of college. Had more rushing yards, I think, and touchdowns than Saquon in Penn State history. Went, I think, 5th round. Kind of knock on him, like has all the athleticism, ran a 4.3. But has like Isaiah Pacheco level vision, which for those of you out there, that means not good.
I agree with that. That's not good.
But he's in kind of an intriguing spot, obviously in Tennessee. Like the only thing can't get any worse than they've been. So they're an improving team. They have Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears in front of them. Veteran guys, but I mean, I wouldn't say really either one of them has like solidified a name for themselves in the league. So, I mean, he's the type of guy I think that's going to get a lot of work because he's RB3, RB4 right now. So he's going to get a lot of preseason work. And I think if he seizes that opportunity and does something with it, he has the chance to kind of, hedge his way into some carries when it matters in the regular season in that offense.
Okay. That's a good one. I like that. All right, RG, what you got over there for his secondary guy?
Well, first, I'd like to say that my dynasty team hopes that Alex is correct in that.
Yeah, there we go.
Did take Singleton in my fantasy draft. Yeah, I also have Jacoby Lane, believe it or not. So,
another good pickup.
Smart man.
Feeling pretty good about.
He didn't get drafted in any of my rookie drafts that I did. He was like a waiver wire pickup.
Oh shit! Wow. That's shocking. Actually,
might have struck gold.
How many rounds do you do for your rookie draft?
Well, let's see. I'm in three. One does 4, but
yeah, I do 4. But okay, so all right, maybe that's a little bit more understandable. But either way, getting away, getting a little off track, going into the dynasty now, man. You can turn this into a fantasy podcast.
Right.
As far, I'm going to go with a little bit more of an obvious pick, but I'm just very excited to see how he looks like, and that's going to be David Bailey for the New York Jets. Oh, pardon that.
Oh.
The height, it's he's already kind of like turned heads in training camp. The coaches are obviously praising his pass rush ability. So the Jets are just looking for anything at this point to root for. So I'm sure they're going to be keeping a close eye on their, first overall pick. So I'm definitely excited to see what he looks like and to see, kind of how he balls out. Throwing a little bit of a homer pick in there, honorable mention. I'm very excited to see Ndamukong Tucker in the preseason. And
That's a good one.
He's been tearing it up in training camp. So I'm very excited to see him go up against some other NFL talent.
Okay. Good stuff. Yeah, I did want to get the obvious one out of the way first because I think I mentioned this before, and I did want to give him credit, for them what they did as far as a regime change going to Tennessee. I really want to see what Cam Ward's going to look like in this upcoming season with that with Brian Daboll coaching him. That is clearly, and I won't call it low hanging fruit, but it's definitely something people should watch because they could be a sneaky good team. Because I think if you look at both South divisions, I think the Tennessee Titans and the Saints both could be feisty teams this 100%. Year. In a conversation where if you're not having an off day, you're gonna mess around and lose to those teams, and you're not expecting it, right? You had them, pinned on your schedule as a winnable game. Yeah, if you come in there half stepping, it's gonna get ugly for you, I think, because they're clearly well coached. They have, their roster building has been pretty good. I mean, just what the Titans have done in one offseason, just to kind of, just to reimagine what the Tennessee Titans look like has been great. But from a defensive perspective, same vein with the Tennessee Titans. I want to see what Kevin Winston Jr. looks like. He was a little banged up coming out of college, and he kind of got it started late with the Titans. So full off season, fully healthy now. I think I want to see what Kevin Winston's going to look like from that particular role because I think him and Xavier Watt, kind of fell under the radar as far as being good safeties. So on top of the fact that Nick Emenwari just stole the show last year as far as the rookies are concerned when it comes to safety class. But I do believe that those two guys, Xavier Watt and Kevin Winston Jr., can be really good players in 2026. I think they're going to really do wonders for their defensive side of the ball for both teams. So I'm looking at those two guys to actually flourish and be really good breakout performance for this particular conversation. And I do believe because they're young players, I do believe we'll see them on the field a little bit. So I do believe we'll see them in the preseason, and we should definitely get a glimmer of what they're going to do in 2026 for me. So y'all got any more? Did y'all want to add to the list?
Yeah, one more. Just to bring us back full circle to the Browns for a second. I'm excited to see Taylon Green in this preseason. The other quarterback they took out of Arkansas, that's like Anthony Richardson. I mean, he ran a 4.2, 6'5", cannon arm. Yeah. So I think he's good for some highlight plays in late preseason games, and it might make things intriguing, say the least. But I figured it's the preseason. It's the only time the Browns are relevant. Let's talk about them as much as we can,
I give them some airtime. They won't get a whole lot of airtime in the season, right?
No.
That's a good one. Okay. All right. Good stuff. RG, you got any more?
Nope. I got my picks in.
Okay. One last note before we wrap this up. Mr. Stribling for the 49ers because with Debo coming back, obviously Mike Evans, always with his soft tissue issues and things of that nature. All done for the year. I think, and they're not saying as much. They're not gushing over Stribling as much as they're gushing over Lane, but they're saying that the Stribling is being really good in practice as well. So we'll get DK to confirm that for us. But I think that he could be sneaky good for this Shanahan offense as well. I mean, big target. He can literally justify them taking him in the first pick in the second round. By playing well in the preseason and they let it fold over to the to the regular season because if Mike Evans is on the field, he's going to be the focal point. So he's going to get a lot of one-on-one attention, and that's could benefit him in being maybe in the conversation of Rookie of the Year. So we'll see what Dejon Stribling does for the 49ers. Looking to see that.
Huh? The substation doesn't get to him.
Hopefully. It doesn't claim enough body.
Have you guys seen the Substation Twitter account?
Yeah.
It has a Twitter account? What?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Oh my God.
Dude, and like a week or so, it was a week or two ago, they were talking about the injuries for the Niners on one of the major networks, we'll put it that way. And they brought a tweet from that Substation on. And they were like, can we confirm that this is a parody?
That's funny.
Like they thought it was like the actual, and like, dog, it is 100% a parody because it was like, yeah.
Damn.
You know it's bad, man, when something like a Substation has an alternate online identity that's trolling your team. Like maybe,
The last big post they had was one of the Niners news outlets was like, there's a high level of confidence that George Kittle will be ready to play week 1 versus the Rams. And they're just quote tweeting it. They're like, we'll see.
Oh, wow.
Savage, dude.
Savage.
I swear I've seen one that it was like, it listed like 5 players out and it quoted with like the Thanos gif with him getting all the stones.
I am inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Yeah, that's when Twitter is fun.
Yeah.
That's when Twitter is fun.
That's the Twitter we all know and love,
Indeed. Have y'all seen the shots of the Substation in the horizon on the field?
Yes.
Dude, it's super close to the field like that. You might want to take a look at that. In all honesty,
it's almost like ominous at this point. Like it's just such a eyesore in the back.
It really is.
I've seen pictures showing how like the trees have died around it, like have over time have gotten
radiation.
Smaller and yes,
that's crazy.
It's almost like the owner was like, "It's going to cost me how much to build it on this field with nothing around?" Like. Yeah, just put it next to the Substation. That's fine.
Wow.
I could save $4 million doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I still don't get why Mike Evans, if that's the thing, if Mike Evans had injury history with his legs.
Why the hell would he go there?
Exactly. Exactly.
And Christian Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah, both of them injury prone.
And they both got Qs next to them already. So.
They already do. And we only 2 weeks in the camp. How about that? Crazy, right? Crazy. Okay, gentlemen. Well, that's good stuff. Any other breakout performers did you want to touch on before we get up out of here?
Nah, man.
I'll cover mine.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our breakout performers of 2026. So, let us know in the comments who you have for your breakout performers, and we'll get back to you in short order, man. All righty, so that's going to do it for us. If you're looking for the Lockdown Defense Sports Network, we can now be found on Patreon. We have a Patreon page that has exclusive only NFL content that's on this Patreon. It is exclusive to that particular channel. If you sign up today, you get a 7-day free trial. You can check out all our exclusive content. You get everything for 7 days to see exactly what you're getting. There's a wonderful interview on there with Jason. Oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? Jason Reed, ESPN writer, was senior writer for ESPN. There's a great interview of that on there and a bunch of other things on it. You get our YouTube content early before anybody has access to, at least 12 hours in advance, and a bunch of other things, and exclusive shows that we do only on Patreon. So check that out and subscribe the day before it is too late. But as always, if you're looking for the Lockdown Defense Sports Network in any space, any time, we can be found on all social media platforms. Hit that subscribe button to support our podcast movement. Follow us on social media for all NFL, all 32. We can be found on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch for live shows, and Gmail. So please get at us for all things pro football. But in the meantime, in between time, young RG, good brother, take us out of here.
Oh, my bad. Was I supposed to go?
Come on, bro.
Was that the signal?
Yes.
Sorry. Just do it again.
Young RG, good brother, take us on out of here.
You got to do one thing, and one thing well.
You got to step up.
Step up.
Right.
To lock it down.
There it is. We will see you guys next time. Peace.